This is Boxing Tickets, and we are delighted to be joined once again. Do you know what? Before I even say your name, I'm just thinking we still haven't got a nickname for Kieran Molloy, but delighted to be joined for the first time in 6 months with Kieran Molloy. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. All good. Yeah, still no nickname yet, but we'll see what people come up with.
Why have we not got to that stage? You're on the verge now of your 10th pro fight, and you still don't have a ring nickname, so to speak.
I don't know, to be honest. Yeah, it was something that I used to always think about, like sort of before I went pro and when I was a new pro, but I suppose just went on. It's went on so long now that I haven't even thought about it since.
And we actually said a stage, and I think we were actually trying to come up with names. I think we actually tried to come up with a name for Kurt, wasn't it, at a stage? And we called him names. Um, it's crazy to think like obviously GBM or somebody else like that. Maybe your dad will give you a nickname somewhere. Like what nickname did you have growing up?
Um, no nickname really, to be honest. No, nothing at all. Um, some of the nicknames I've been called now, I probably wouldn't be able to use in the boxing world. So, um, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe something will catch on now over the next few fights.
There we go. Here's for a bit of engagement on the video. If there's
Yeah.
anybody obviously watching this interview and they can suggest a good nickname for Kieran Molloy, pop it in the comments, pop it on social media. We'll start getting a vote together and see which one we can come up with.
Perfect. Sounds good. Looking
Keep them
forward to seeing
PC
those
now
now.
because if they're not PC, they can't be used.
Yeah.
But I guess obviously, 6 months we obviously haven't spoken. Probably a lot's went on in your career probably since then. I think obviously that was obviously the stage before your fight with Daniel. Sorry, it wasn't Daniel. Sergio Garcia Herrera. So that was
Yeah.
like just a week or so before that. Like I know times passed. You've obviously fought and stuff again since, but in that fight, obviously getting dropped for the first time as a pro, I know that there was sort of I think you said afterwards it was like a bit of a niggle on the ribs and things like that. But you probably had to show a lot of resilience coming through that. You had to bite down the gum shield, and like I know you've said in other
Yeah.
interviews and stuff since, you couldn't believe, you know, that he had only 11 pro fights sort of by that stage. Like I guess in some ways
Yeah.
it's a good box to tick off, isn't it?
It was for sure. Yeah. Like you always know those Mexicans, their game. I know as an amateur, he was like Mexican national champion a couple of times. But it was funny because a couple of years back then, maybe 2 years ago, when Joshua was in camp in Loughborough, Robert Garcia was over and he said, never fight an unknown Mexican. And I started laughing. I said, why? And he goes like, because those guys have about 40, 50 fights down in like Tijuana and these places that aren't on BoxRec. He didn't say never fight one, but he just said be careful, do a bit of research on them. But I had seen like previous fights of this Sergio Garcia. Like I knew I was a better fighter than him, better boxer. So yeah, I was happy to take it. He definitely did bring me into deep waters, and it'll definitely stand to me going down the road. But yeah, I had a niggle all right in my back and my ribs or before that fight. I had some pretty intense sparring with the likes of David Avanesyan, Echo Esterman. Had like Joe Hart hitters and Stevie McKenna and my gym mate as well, Sergio Garcia. So I've been in deep waters before, so it was good to have that sort of preparation going into that fight as well. But yeah, you wouldn't want that sort of sparring every week now. It would take its toll. But yeah, it was a great learning fight for me. I had to dig deep, it was a small ring. The heat was unbelievable. Like I remember when they were saying my name, like the MC was saying my name, and I was thinking, when are these lights going to turn off? And then the first bell goes and they stayed on. And I was like, after the first round, I just felt like something was zapping out of me. So, yeah, it was a good experience to know that I can go through that against a really tough opponent, answer a couple of questions that is always in the back of a fighter's mind. What does happen? How do you react if you are dropped and hurt? And I suppose, like, at the time, I knew there was so long left in the round. I think it was the sixth round. And I thought if I take another two or three of these, it's going to be dangerous. So I said, I'll take my 8 count now, get a breather, and then finish out the round. But yeah, there was no quitting me anyways, thank God.
Is that the first time obviously from amateur box as well? Is that the first time you've been down? Like, have you been down before, or just was something new to you?
No, yeah, it's the first time I've ever been down. Yeah, I've never been down in sparring or anything. So yeah, it was one ticked off, I suppose. I'm not proud of it, but look, it's boxing. It happens, you know. These small gloves, like yeah, anyone can be dropped. It's about being defensively sound at all times.
It's sometimes they say, that you don't really know how good a fighter is until they've been through, that deep water. Even in your own mind, when you're dropped, you're going, what's going on here? Like, you sort of really want to scratch your head and go, did that just happen? And you're probably straight away in your head, you're probably going, why did I let this happen? The demons start playing your head. But the great thing for you is you got that experience now. In some ways as well, it might help you get fights in some ways. I remember Carl Frampton. Obviously, Scott Quigg wouldn't fight him. He obviously went and fought in Mexico. Got dropped twice in the first round. They were like sort of flash knockdowns. Scott Quigg fight came. Leo Santa Cruz fight came. You can actually get fights out of it. People go, they think now that
Yeah,
you're actually beatable rather than being a hard night's work for them.
yeah, 100%. Look, that's it. Like even myself, if I see weakness in an opponent, you know, you're kind of gunning for that spot or you're gunning for those places. But luckily enough for me, like I've got back to the gym. I started working on my mistakes. So yeah, I'm just ready for whatever comes out, whatever the opponents bring. I have a fresh start now down in London. I'm training under Charlie Beat and alongside Harlem Eubank and some fantastic athletes in the gym as well. Everybody works extremely hard here. It's a great like environment to train in, and yeah, just loving it. I feel like I'll be new and improved now come the next few fights.
It was nearly the worst sort of outcome for you. Obviously, it was your first fight under GBM, and everybody's sort of talking. Kieran Molloy, massive star, future world champion. Nearly sometimes it was nearly like the worst sort of possible outcome for you. But in some ways, you've been able to show that what you've come through. You've obviously fought against since like fighting obviously again then Matthew King. People sort of maybe look at the record and see a few defeats. He was obviously game and he come to have a fight and stuff as well. So like it didn't like you didn't you know sometimes when you have a tough fight like that and you drop and things, people might pick an easier opponent. Matthew King wasn't any easier, so that was you just trying to get back on the horse and try and right the wrong straight away.
That's it. Yeah, I was actually preparing for a completely different fighter as well. We were going to take on an Argentinian who had a fairly decent record actually, but he didn't show up anyways. About a week out, he said he wasn't coming. And then Matthew King stepped in for a play. He was quite negative though. I was kind of preparing for a bit of more aggressive, so that I was going to change a bit more that side. But yeah, Matthew King just wanted to survive. To be fair, and sometimes especially after the fight before and my preparation for the other opponent, I had to completely change in the ring, and it was just like it was one of those fights where you just got through, you're winning easy, but it wasn't very exciting. But look, a win nonetheless. Anyways, that was the main thing.
You look at that as experience, obviously, because I know you had some early knockdowns and stuff like that. Like it's just past a year since you'd obviously fought in America for the first time, and obviously that. But then around, like you sort of look at some of these and you're going, where a fighter's negative and once they survive, probably that's his rule sort of now. But do you sort of look at that and go, well, I've got 8 rounds banked there, and that's obviously going to help you for the future.
Yeah, of course, they definitely do. But at the same time, I'm one of those fighters who always looks for a knockout. I think before I was probably neglecting my boxing skills and setting up knockout punches rather than just going forward with a tight guard or standing and trading. Even against these negative fighters, there's always openings if you create them properly. So yeah, I'm just going to start bringing that back in now again.
And like I guess obviously after June, the talk was, and obviously GBM come out with all as well. As obviously that yourself and obviously Tiernan were going to head back, and it was looking like Galway was looking like a possibility. Probably for you, probably at this stage, I know your next fight's now been announced, but like you were gearing up then for coming home to Galway. Is it
Mm.
probably annoyed you a wee bit at the fact that because you always were wanting to fight at home, you had a Galway homecoming, it's sort of annoying for you for a couple of days. You're sort of going, I really wanted that Galway fight.
Yeah, yeah, it did annoy me. Especially like when you're telling people that it's happening next and it's out there on social media that's happening next by the promotion, I was a bit annoyed, but at the same time, it's given me more time now to settle in with Charlie in the new gym, work on new stuff. We are going to be going back to Galway as well for a stadium fight in the early summer. That's definitely going to be happening. But yeah, just for me now going forward, it's about activity. I have this fight and then probably look out to get it again in March and then back to Galway then in May, sort of late May, maybe June. But yeah, I still really want to build in the west of Ireland, and I think there's a massive hunger for it, and yeah, I'd be very proud to bring it back there.
You don't need an undercard either as well, because we've seen the last time you sold 95% of the tickets yourself in Galway. So you don't even need an undercard. You don't even need to announce that the card's happening. You could probably just say, Kieran's fighting tomorrow, the venue sold. That's how well thought of you are in Galway, and how much support you have there. Like, they're probably trying to think of going, how can we make how can we sell as many tickets as possible in Galway, at the same time. So like, you're a big draw in Galway.
Yeah, I'm very lucky. They've been with me since day one. Yeah, it's very humbling when you go home. Like everybody's always asking, "How's the boxing going? When are you coming back? When are you coming back to Galway?" And everyone around Uachtarard, and Killannin. It's very tight communities. And yeah, I just can't wait to get back there as well. We definitely are going to start building there again. It was just put on hold, but yeah, everybody's still very supportive over it and looking forward to it happening. So yeah, fingers crossed now with GBM and they land the big DAZN contract. They'll be having more regular shows and big events. So yeah, I think Galway will be class to kick it all off.
Definitely, obviously, it's long overdue. You probably ideally want to fight in Galway at least once a year. You'd ideally like to have every fight in Galway, but unfortunately, obviously, you have to go about the other cards and build
Yeah,
the ER side of things elsewhere.
yeah, definitely. Like even in the UK, say the likes of London, those places, I would love to build there as well because the amount of Irish over there as well. There's loads of um, Irish companies, loads of people working here from Ireland. There's Irish pubs in every second corner you go in London. So I would love to. And then obviously as well, I still want to get my fight in Madison Square Garden someday. So yeah, between Galway, London, and the East Coast in America, that's what I'm going to be looking for.
You've been through a lot, obviously, in a short career. From making your debut under 3 years ago. Like, it started off perfect for you. Obviously, you and Kurt, obviously, in the undercard of Taylor Catterall in Scotland. You've obviously had your fights falling through. Obviously, fight week in Madison Square Garden. Obviously, your dreams to get back to Galway. Like, you've been through a lot. Like, did you think you would probably have these bit of heartaches so early on in your career? I guess as an amateur, sometimes you don't see these things. You probably see other cards and things that got falling through, and you go, "That'll not happen to me."
Never in a million years, I think there's going to be this many. You'd expect one or two maybe, but I can't even remember how much. Like you kind of just become numb to it at some stages. You're almost waiting for your phone to call saying, "Oh, it's not happening anymore." But look, I've just learned it's the business side of stuff. It's not the fighters or um yeah. Look, things just chop and change so much in this sport. But not to worry. Look, I'm here. I'm still living my dream, training full time, learning every day. Still believe I'm going to become a world champion someday. So all these are just little bumps in the road.
You look at others, obviously, it's had sort of, things go wrong in a career. Obviously, I'm thinking of two in particular. Paddy McCrory, obviously, at the start of his career, like 3 or 4 fights in a row. He obviously headlined on DAZN, obviously against Berlanga. Ando Kakachi, he's now a world champion. Like,
Mm.
since me and you last spoke, Ando Kakachi's become a world champion and then defended his belt. Like, and he,
Yeah.
over the last 7 years, his activity was probably 2020, he didn't have a fight, 2018, he didn't have a fight. Like, he got to the stage, he was 35 years of age, and sort of, I know the last couple of years has changed for him, but can you look at fighters like that and go, they'll inspire you that when things go wrong, that you can still get where you want to get to?
Yeah, 100%. Like I'm not sure if I saw you put it up or something, but wasn't Kakachi like delivering takeaway food up until like a year ago,
Mm.
and like now he's probably a millionaire. It's mad the way it goes. It's unbelievable, and what a fighter he is as well. Seems to be really good personality, just down to earth lad. Um, yeah, I think Irish boxing is getting exciting. There's a lot of good young prospects coming up. Pierce O'Leary is doing well. Kurt Walker, Gary Cully. You have Tommy Hyde just making some waves over in the East Coast. The McKenna brothers. There is a lot of like top class boxers around. So I do think, yeah, you can look at the likes of Kakashi and stuff. He's paving the way. It makes every fighter believe that, look, although we're from Ireland, maybe the opportunity isn't as much as the UK or the US, but we're definitely thereabouts, good enough to win world titles.
And obviously, linking up obviously with Charlie, you're back in the same gym as Kurt again. And Kurt sort of said the other week that you don't really get these sort of socialized so much, obviously with different training things like that again. But like you and him's been like chalk and cheese, and sort of he's turned over, made your debuts in the same card. Good to have a familiar face sort of in the gym again.
That is, yeah. Look, I was on the national team with Kurt for 5 or 6 years as well. Sharing the same hotel room and now back in the same gym as him again. Again, it's great. Um, yeah, I see. Like I train with Harlem Eubank, and Kurt kind of comes in maybe an hour after us or something. But no, you see each other every day and stuff. Have meals together, stuff like that. It just breaks it all up. It's nice to have a familiar face, and yeah, it's good. It's good crack.
And like that change over, that's the first sort of change you've made, sort of coaching wise, since you sort of turned over. Like, what are you learning differently? Is Charlie maybe stripping you back a wee bit? Like, what's changing much in your style?
Um, Look, there is obviously a lot we had to work on. I got stuck in a couple of bad habits just over the years, but I also learned an awful lot over the last few years as well. Just picking punches right, not loading up on everything, but more sharpshooting stuff. But yeah, I'm just practicing every day and training. Charlie is a fantastic coach. He put so much effort in. He's there with me in Harlem every day for the full sessions. We train really, really hard. His programs are class. First time in years I've actually woke up every day looking forward to going to the gym. So it's nice to have that. I remember like I was in the car on the way to Dublin a couple months back with my brother Cullum, and he was just saying, "Oh, can't wait to get into work." And I was just looking at him like I almost felt jealous. I was like, "Imagine having that." It's just nice to finally have that now. You're looking forward to getting into the gym. You're learning all the time. There's a good atmosphere there as well. There's great fighters in and out of the gym. Good lads sort of training there as well, like good active fighters. So yeah, you see something new every day there.
It sounds like you sort of fall in love. I guess sometimes bad habits and things don't go sort of the way you are. Them can creep in, but it sounds like you've fallen in love with boxing again.
Yeah, yes. Not that I ever fell out of love with it. It's just some things weren't, going right. I still have fantastic relationships with the people who helped me in love for our sport and stuff like that as well. It just didn't work out in the end with myself and the coach. But yeah, no, they're still have great relationships, all the fighters and the staff and everything like that. So no, it's refreshing though to have a new change. And yeah, like I think when I'm enjoying my boxing as well, that bit more, I start seeing better progression.
Obviously, in the welterweight division, it seems to be. We obviously know of one, obviously potential, obviously Irish domestic fight that could happen for next year. But were you sort of surprised that Dylan Moran, Tyrone McKenna made for Waterford? Like I know Tyrone's sort of moving up. Is that a sort of fight that came about, and you're sort of going, where did that sort of come from?
Yeah, it actually was, yeah. But then like when you look into it, it's actually a good fight, especially after Dylan, he had that off night against Marku, and now he's back. He was back against O'Neill and got basically done to O'Neill what had happened to him against Marku. So and then McKenna, he's as game as anything, Um, that was a tough fight he took against Lewis Crocker, but he stood there till the last bell. Um, So yeah, it's a tough one. It's actually a tough fight to call, to be honest. Um, I haven't watched either of them like closely. So I'm not going to say who wins or loses on it, but yeah, it's a good all Irish domestic fight.
Sometimes you have to watch, you have to sit in the fence because you don't want someone taking a offense to you by having, giving your opinion. Sometimes people can get offended by it, and things like
Yeah,
that. Like,
no, I like both lads. I think they're both good for the sport. They're good for Irish boxing, and yeah, just may the best man win.
and we currently now have an Irish champion, obviously your weight as well. Obviously, I know that Senan's not going to campaign at welterweight. He sort of moved up to fight Deco at sort of short notice. Obviously, Deco then pulled out, and it was Matthew Tyndall and Senan Flair's title. So it looks like that'll become vacant again. Is that something that's
Okay.
still in it's still in your focus and mind that you want to be an Irish champion as a pro?
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, possibly next year. Like we'll see. We'll see what sort of happens. Not setting any stone or anything yet. What was actually the reason why Declan Geraghty didn't fight for it against Senan?
Declan didn't fight it. I think his weight wasn't coming down right. If I'm right in saying, I don't think it was. I
Okay.
think he had having to do check weights with the BUI, and I don't think they were
Okay, okay.
happy with where the weight was. So I don't think. I think he done the right thing and so saying rather than fight week having to pull off, he tried to give him time to sort of make a fight. So I know he's now fighting Jake Tinkling at the end of November for the Kildick belt at welterweight. So a bit more
Okay.
time probably helping him make the weight.
Okay, okay. I just wasn't sure because I saw like sort of Matthew Tyndall had fought in was it Dublin in some boxing
Fought in the gym
club.
with an eight
Yeah.
rounder.
I was thinking I didn't know what was going on, and then I was like, okay, all right, that makes sense now.
I
Yeah.
guess it's things happen in boxing. Sometimes you're sort of going, what's going on here?
Yeah.
It's all there. And I guess the big one, like in some ways, Kieran, you'll probably look at it, and I know this last year. So you, previously your name was in the mix with obviously Paddy. There was obviously you and Paddy renewing the rivalry from the amateurs, and it seemed to be this last year everything's all been on Lewis and Paddy. Where do you sort of look at in terms of, I guess, you just want to see good fights, sort of, it looks like it's locked in for the first quarter of next year, but you'd still obviously, you'd still put yourself in power with them, even though you probably haven't maybe had the activity you wanted, but, you'd probably be open and going, I'll fight the winner.
Yeah, look, it's like you have to be fair. The lads, they had opportunities with Matchroom. They fought, they performed really well. They've been winning. They both won belts. I haven't, so I can't say, oh, I want them next or this or that. I know where I'm at. I'm still building up the ladder. They're a bit faster, but I've been pro a lot less than them as well at the same time. Definitely, I still put myself on the same caliber. I put myself higher, but they're going to meet. It's going to be a great fight. Really looking forward to watching that one. But yeah, look, it's just all the best of them both. But I'm just on my own path for now.
Would you sort of look at it, in some ways, and I hope that neither will take it, as offense that sort of Lewis is probably already at the level that Paddy probably doesn't have the experience as a pro sort of at that level yet. So in some ways, because they're both in matchroom, this is how it's sort of come together. Like Paddy probably in his own head would probably think I'd like a couple more fights to sort of catch up fights wise because Lewis has been a pro since what
Yeah,
2017. Paddy obviously
yeah,
turned pro in 2020 sort of thing.
yeah. And Lewis seems to have great momentum and stuff now as well. He's been fighting really well. Devastating sort of knockouts. Paddy as well. He had a bit of a tough one against the Argentinian, but he finished with a lovely body shot. I think their styles are really going to gel for a great fight. Um, Paddy can do stuff that, almost sometimes you just watch it and go like, geez, how did he pulls back high, but he still gets out of the way. And then sometimes Lewis throws these awkward hooks where you don't know where they're coming from. So it's a it's a really good fight. I'm looking forward to watching it. Like again, it's a good 50-50 fight. If you're going on experience, momentum, probably Crocker, but um, yeah, he can't get too carried away either and loading up on shots with Donovan.
and obviously I'm just looking at the timer here. It's saying we've just over 5 minutes left. You're back in action the 7th of December in Sheffield, and I think I'd sort of announced your fight sort of before it was sort of made official, but Boxrec, I guess, can be the blame for that sometimes. It's not that
Yeah.
you've given me and going, here, there's a bit of an exclusive here. It was obviously I'd seen it on Boxrec, it was sort of listed.
Ah,
But like, you're fighting Robin Zamora, actually a previous opponent of Pierce O'Leary as well. Pierce fought him a couple of years ago.
that's
Um,
right. Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
experienced, obviously, fighter. Obviously, that's a good fight for you, coming in, your first fight under Charlie. You sort of
Yeah.
need to sort of wet the whistle before you sort of go further on. Like, you don't want to go straight into the level you're at. You need one so Charlie can see you're at in the ring before you then
That's
go into
it.
the next stage again.
Yeah. It's about just trying what we're working on. It's going to take a couple of fights, like until we start fighting for the big ones as well. But yeah, it won't be long. It won't be long before my name is in that mix again with all the top welterweights.
It's definitely it's an interesting time. Obviously, I guess you've got your own sort of thing you're doing at the moment, and the Luna got with Charlie. You'll have a fight or two, and then probably by the time you come home to Galway next summer, it'll
Yeah.
be what's the biggest fight we can get for the belt that we want. Like, you might go into that predicament again, you have a couple more fights on and then because I know previously you wanted to fight for Celtic titles and Irish titles, and you couldn't get an opponent. And now
Yeah.
it's sort of been everything
Yeah.
since. It's like everything since you've sort of moved to GBM, it's like Matthew Tyndall's at welterweight, Senan Kelly's at welterweight, Dylan Moran throwing McKenna, and you're sort of going, where are all these guys? Why are they all
No, yeah.
welterweight? Is it because they know I'm not here?
Yeah. No, it's good though. I love seeing it. Like it's great to see all the lads at welterweight now. It's always been a hot division welterweight, like globally. So yeah, it's good to see. Yeah, I'll be coming to pick up my belt next year in Ireland.
I loved your Galway show. I know I was there this year for obviously Thomas O'Toole, obviously in Galway, and it just didn't have that same Kieran Molloy sort of vibe to it. It wasn't as packed as it was for you. Not discredit, and obviously Thomas and things like that, but I think everybody sort of knows that you're the real king of Galway. So it's all right in saying that, and hopefully Thomas again. I'm going to end up coming off this. People's going to watch this, Kieran, and I'm going to have hate mail from these people going, "Why are you saying this?" But it's my own opinion, I guess, sometimes. But like, people understand that you're the big draw in Galway. Thomas is a big draw as well, but you're the king, sort of thing.
Yeah, it's great to have Thomas building in Galway as well though. Just puts our county on the map internationally as well. Very proud to be from Galway, and it's great to see two active fighters from there now, and I see Gabriel Lawson has just signed pro as well, and you have Adam Hesh and Jason Myers. It's a good boxing city, really.
It definitely is, and I've enjoyed my time down there in Galway the last few times. But look,
Yeah,
obviously, I'll let you go and enjoy the rest of your Thursday evening. Obviously, this goes out straight away for obviously ringside members, so obviously it'll be Friday evening by the time some people are watching this and they're going, "What are you talking about Thursday evening for?" So anybody that's watching this interview and thinking why you're getting it a day later, there is an option to obviously subscribe and become a ringside member, and you can get to watch all interviews soon after they're recorded. But Kieran, thanks for your time. It's good to
no,
get a catch up. That's 6 months too long. We're going to have
I
to
know.
make sure we have to make sure this is obviously moving forward. We get the build up after, before the fights and obviously after the fights. But look, great to get
Yeah,
a catch up with you, and hopefully
good
it'll not be
man.
too long before we do the next one.
Yeah, perfect. Go on, we'll chat to you again leading up to the fight. Good man.
Kieran, take care.
All
Thanks.
right, you too.
Bye.
Bye now. Bye
Bye.
bye.
Bye.